collectors, we're always picking up something, whether we go thrifting, browsing online to see if we can score the next deal for our collection, and we could pick up something that catches our eye or something that like, hey, maybe I could trade that. Or hell, we could pick up a whole lot and get doubles in there. I'm like, what do we do with that stuff? A lot of people ask that question a lot. Whenever you buy something, if you have a duplicate of it, or if you buy something, you're like, oh, that's cool, but you're thinking, oh, maybe I shouldn't keep that. What am I going to do with it? Well, today I'm going to talk about what I normally do with things that I can part with in my collection that I picked up over the years that I don't need in here anymore. And when I do with doubles, whenever I get lost or when I accidentally pick up something that I thought I had but I didn't. Doubles of games. We've all been there. Yes, I have a double of Rugrats Studio. I've got it loose and I've got it CIB. What do we do with them? How do we get them? Where does it all come from? Well, I'm about to tell you what happens to me whenever this happens. So basically, whenever I shop for video games, as a big collector, you're going to look for lots. Lots are a huge thing for us, especially when we're trying to get a massive quantity for our collection to fill it out, especially with that filler, because there's a lot of that whenever it comes to a big ass collection like PlayStation 1, for example. So I'm always looking for the most for my money, and lots are a good way to go about doing that, because trying to buy stuff individually, you're paying $5, $6, $7 here for shipping, and that adds up over time. I only want to really do that with more expensive titles versus like the cheaper ones, unless I just have to do it that way. It's starting to get to that point because I have over 800 in my collection. Whoa! So it's starting to get a little bit harder to do lots. But before, whenever I did it, if I had a game already, if they had one or two in the lot that I already own, I'm like, I'll weigh the pros and cons of that to see if it's worth getting the lot. I'll look at how much they're wanting for it, what's in the lot, and I'm like, okay. And I'll even ask the seller if they'll take out the stuff I already have. Now, normally they don't want to do that. They don't want to part with it because they want to bundle everything together. I have come across some that will take them out, but normally they don't. But that's okay. I'm like, well, this lot's worth it. I'll go ahead and do the deal because, I'm saving on shipping in the long run, and, a couple of extra games, I'll figure out something to do with them. And it's just like another thing I want to point out. This is a side note, but this does tie into what we're talking about. Whenever you go thrifting, whenever you go to Goodwill, whenever you even go game hunting, you always want to keep a list of things that you have. And I do, but there are times to where I forget to put it on my app that I have to track my stuff, because I used to use spreadsheets and Google spreadsheets, and that's not a good thing to do, at least not for me. It wasn't really beneficial, so I started using the app to actually track all my stuff, which is a lot easier because it adds the cover art, it adds everything, so it's a lot easier to just put it in. You can even scan it and go. I don't actually scan it, I manually put it in because, I guess I'm just a glutton for pushing stuff. But anyway, even whenever I go game hunting like that, I still do forget to put stuff in because I have a process. I normally will typically clean the game, I will catalog it, then I'll show it. That's typically my process whenever I have pickups. But you all know me. I get a lot of stuff at once sometimes, so it's hard to get to everything, and sometimes I'll forget if I logged it or not. I'm like, oh, I don't got that. I'll pick it up, and when I get home, I'm like, fuck, I already got that. So, what do I do with stuff that I have duplicates of that I picked up, whether it be thrifting or whether it be online purchases? Well, I have different processes whenever it comes to picking up different things. So, let's start off with that. So whenever I actually have a duplicate of something, I'm like, okay, first off, I'll think, who would want this? Because I'm friends with a lot of people in the community. There's big collectors out there. There's other people that are going for full sets like myself. So I reach out to them to see if they would want it. I'll post it in the community, be like, hey, I've got this up for trade. Trading is the number one way that I like to go about getting rid of my doubles. I'm not a reseller. I don't have a Mercari. I don't have an eBay. I don't have nothing like that. I don't like doing that. That's not my thing. I have friends that are resellers, but that's just not my scene. I don't feel right about doing that, so I'm not ever going to do that because it's just not me. So I will reach out to them to see if they'll want it. They always get first dibs because I would rather it go to a collector friend to help fill out their collection for something that they've been looking for versus, trying to actually part with it with someone I don't know. So if it doesn't actually get a hit or anything like that, then I will move on to a retro store, of course, to actually trade it in. Now, let me go back a little bit, backtrack to go into the community. Now, a lot of people, whenever I want to do a trade, I have a process with that. So I call it, an equal trade value. So let's look at the game, for example. We're going to look at how much it's worth. And then, we're going to put that as the point whenever it comes to trading. So I've mentioned before I did a trade with Diablo for PS1. I had an extra copy. It was loose. We did an equivalent trade with that, me and my buddy DMC. I've talked about that before, and the trade went seamless. So I think it's fair to do it that way, because you're trading something, you're going to get the value of that trade, because trying to trade it for less is not fair to me. So I want it to be fair for both people, not just you, but for me too. So that's what I do whenever it comes to trade. Now, however, sometimes people don't have stuff that I'm looking for. I'm a big collector. I got a lot of shit, as you all can see. Look at this wall behind me. So it's really hard sometimes to do trades like that. So if the person still really wants it, I mean, they want it for their collection. I got it. They want it. They're interested, but they don't have anything to trade that I'm looking for. Typically, I look for PS1, PS2, Wii U, PS3. And if they don't have that, what do I do then? Well, if you really want it, then this is when the only time I do this is I will sell it to them. However, the sale price is not what it's valued for. Typically, I will do it lower than what it's valued for, because I want to cut them a deal. And of course, I still want to make it fair for myself, because it is my find. And of course, that money will go back toward my collection. Since they don't have anything to trade with me, I'm still going to cut you a deal. What you're thinking, wait a minute. You do trade value, but you're going to take less money for, the game whenever you're actually doing cash. Yeah, because, I want people to save money, and I feel like that's a fair process. Trading is different from actually buying something from somebody, and I feel like, it's in my head, I want to give you a better deal for cash, versus, trading, because trading, is equal value. You got stuff I want, I've got something you want, but cash, I don't really like doing the cash thing, because now I gotta, find stuff I like, gotta pay shipping and all that crap. So it's just the whole process for me. So I'm gonna cut the person a deal and then give them the game, and then, I'll find something for my collection with, the profit that I made off of that. That's where it goes back to. So that's why I typically prefer trading over that, because it's just more beneficial for both parties. But, I would rather see someone happy with the game and cut them a deal. I've done that before. There's plenty of people that, haven't been able to trade with me. I will cut them a deal, on games, because I'd rather see it go to a good home versus, see a profit off of it, honestly, like a massive, like a 100% profit. Because, I'm like, nah, I just want to get rid of the damn thing. No one, you don't have anything to trade. Let's get it out of here. I'll get a little bit of cash, get shit from my collection. We're both good to go. That's just how I see it whenever it comes to that. Now, if it doesn't come down to that, let's go back to the actual retro game stores. Now, you all know that I don't have any near me. I have to go a couple hours either way to go to the game stores I go to, and I only go every couple months. So whenever someone doesn't want to trade or they don't want to buy anything I have, it does pile up. And this game room is very small. So I've like, okay, it's going to get this high. And I'm like, okay, I got to get this shit out of here. So however, I do want to make another side note. There's a lot of side notes apparently in here. I'm going to conventions now, so I can save up a little bit back for that, because, now that I've had that experience, trading is so smooth at conventions, and I like that. But here's the other thing. It's only going to be a once or twice a year thing. So retro stores are definitely going to be priority over conventions. Now, whenever you go to a retro store, they're all different with their trade-in value. Normally, of course, I'm not going to take cash. I'm going to do trade-in value for it, because of the fact that I want games. That's what I'm taking it for, to trade for stuff. Typically, stores will do 60% of the value of what it's worth with trading credit, typically. Sometimes some stores can do more, but that's normally, I think it's about 60% for the ones that I go to, at least off the top of my head. Next time I go, I'll do the math, and I'll let y'all know for sure if it's that. So anyway, I'll trade it in now. What if I don't find anything? I traded on all this stuff. I look around, I don't find anything. Well, it's there if I want to use it next time. Because here's the thing about retro stores, and that's a good thing that I only go every couple months, because like I said, it's a long ass drive. It's that the rotation doesn't always shift. They get their product in, people come in and do trade-ins, or I don't know how the hell they get their inventory. I guess they do, people come in and sell their stuff, or they'll go out and try to buy collections or whatever the case. I'm guessing that's how they replenish their stock. I don't know. I don't own a retro store, so I don't know. If they don't, then it's there for me to use at another point. Now, another thing that I want to mention whenever it comes to game hunting that I do, again, like I said, there's plenty of side notes in here and plenty of stuff for y'all to learn and know about me, about how I go about doing things, is that I do keep my eye out for, you know, collector friends too whenever it comes to certain games, because I got a buddy of mine, for example, that goes for a complete PS3 collection. So if I'm at Goodwill and I see PS3 stuff and I don't know everything he has, I know majority of it, but there's some stuff that he's getting that I've not been updated on, I'll grab it. And like I said, if there's doubles, if I've got them, then I'll just trade them in or see if anybody else wants them. So I'm always on the lookout for friends too whenever it comes to that, because I do know what some people are looking for. So that's another thing that I do as well. Now, there are instances to where, you know, I have, you know, looked and I've seen a double, but I haven't picked it up. And one recent one that I can think of is Super Paper Mario. So I recently just picked that one up at Goodwill for a complete unbox, I think for like $3, which is a hell of a deal because I think it normally goes for about 15. I saw it again. Now, here's the thing. I know that that's a popular title, but it was loose. So it was there. It's a great deal. I think they wanted, again, $3 for it, but I didn't know anybody that wanted it. I left it. And I knew I already had it. See, I knew I had that one because I recently picked it up and it's already been shelved and cataloged. I can remember some things I pick up, but not everything. So there's an instance where I will leave stuff behind if I don't know anyone that needs it, and I don't need it myself, and I know for a fact that I don't need it. So there's another instances to, you know, I leave stuff behind. I'm not going to take every fucking thing. I'm not like that. If I don't need it, if I don't know anybody else that needs it, it'll stay there, because it's just not, you know, not worth my time picking it up, and I don't need it. It'll sit there for somebody else to get, and someone else did get it. So hell yeah to you, man, for getting that for your collection. But I just wanted to talk about that process, about what I normally do whenever it comes to, you know, doubles in my collection, what I do with them, going back into the community or going to a retro store, or the in-between with that. What do you do with your doubles? Do you keep them? Do you actually, you know, sell them to people in the community? Do you trade with people? Do you take them to a retro store for trade-in credit? Let me know your process about what you do whenever it comes to, you know, doubles in your collection, because, you know, going for, you know, a big collection like I am, space is definitely a priority for me, so I can't keep all this shit in here. I want people to have the games that they want, and if I've got it, I will more than happily trade with you, you know, if it's something, you know, that you really want, or if it's something that you don't have anything to trade, we'll do a deal, man, because I'm fucking awesome, and I am the PlayStation girl, so you're gonna get a good deal. But anyway, that's all the time I have for you today, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, but until next time, as always, this is the PlayStation girl signing out. Game on!